Welcome to the Masterclass series. My name is Sam. I'm going to be your instructor. I'm going to be walking you guys through everything. And we are presented by Impact Vets. Check them out at www.impactvets.org. And with that, let's get started. All right, let's talk about recommendations. So what is the purpose of recommendations? A recommendation speaks to your character and who you are. So we have two different options here, is to give and to receive. When you give a recommendation, it shows your ability to look at the folks that are around you, to be a team player, to your leadership capabilities. And then when you receive a recommendation, let's say a third party that is speaking to your excellence and who you are, right? So let's start by giving some recommendations. So it's always said, we always hear it's better to give than to receive. If you're looking for recommendations, it's always better and easier when you give recommendations first, right? It's, when you give a recommendation, then you ask for one, then they kind of feel more obligated to give you a nice recommendation. So start by giving a couple recommendations out. Go ahead, write a couple, it doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be like these long stories. It could be a paragraph, 2 or 3 sentences, 4 sentences. That's okay. But remember, the whole point is you're trying to show your character, right? It's a aspect of yourself. So think about, what you're trying to show for yourself, but also ask, what is that person looking from your recommendation, right? And if they ask for a generic request, I have a couple of requests here, and when you look, it says, would you write me a recommendation? That doesn't tell me anything, right? So what I would probably do is reach out to that person and say, hey, thanks for asking me for a recommendation. What are you looking for, right? What do you want me to highlight? What do you want me to showcase? And then start from there. Now, receiving a recommendation, obviously you could just wait until people just randomly send you a recommendation, or you could click on this little ask for a recommendation button. Then you could go in and put in a person's name. And, I'm going to just randomly pick something. And then here is that personalized message, and it says, would you write me a recommendation? So now you have two choices here, right? So the first option is you can tell them specifically what you're looking for, right? So I can say, hi, I'm Emily. I'm looking for a recommendation. Can you please speak about my leadership ability? Can you talk about my volunteering with Onward to Opportunity and my public speaking abilities? Can you speak to my volunteer efforts? So what I'm doing here is I'm giving them a writing prompt. When I just ask for a generic recommendation, it puts the onus on the person you're asking to come up with the stuff off the top of their head, right? That's hard. That's difficult. And two, you don't get to control that message, right? So if I'm looking for, let's say I'm trying to go into a leadership, like a director type of role. I want someone to talk about my leadership abilities. I want them to talk about my strategic leadership abilities, my abilities to look into the future and forecasting and my budgeting and my resource allocations and stuff like that, right? So these are all keywords and things that I want to showcase about me, right? These are all pain points that a hiring manager is going to be looking to fill. So I want the people that give me recommendations to talk about those skill sets. So that's one option, is to give them a writing prompt, or even better, I can say, I'm looking for a recommendation. And what I did was write a few words. Please modify and edit to fit your verbiage and send back. So, and what I'm going to do here, the other option you can do is you can actually write a couple sentences. You can write 3-4 sentences and let that person correct and modify and edit your words to make it sound like their own, and then send it back. Now, in this scenario, you're really controlling the, your profile and what you're putting out into, into social media. So those are your two options. I highly suggest you give a lot of recommendations. Once again, it shows your character. And when you ask for a recommendation or when you receive a recommendation, always feel free to ask them to edit it if you want that. If there are spelling errors or whatever, you want them to fix it. You could ask someone to do that. If you're going to ask for a recommendation, remember you have two options. A, give them a writing prompt. Please talk about X. Or B, create a initial write-up and have them change it from there. It's always easier when you give them a writing prompt or have them edit rather than if they have to come up with the stuff off the top of their head. All right. Hope that helps. Work on those recommendations. And, as always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, hit them in the comment section below. I'll be happy to answer them. And, we'll go from there. All right. That's it for now. Once again, we're presented by Impact Vets, impactvets.org. If you want more information, if you found this course helpful, we ask that you please try and donate. A large donation amount would be great. If a large donation amount is too much, you can't just do it right now, then please think about doing a small donation amount, but make it recurring, like a $20 donation for 12 months. That would be great. Really appreciate it. We'll see you in the next course.